Hello and welcome to Code Rhetoric with Tam Talk. I am your host, Tamara Abraham, here to discuss or to have a little code rhetoric conversation about all things medical coding and healthcare compliance related. So on today's episode, I want to talk about, or should I say, ask the question or answer the question of whether or not medical coding and healthcare compliance is the career for you. And so I pose that question, or I ask that question, because oftentimes I do encounter potential students who are interested in pursuing a career in medical coding. And so as someone who is an instructor for medical coding, I like to try, if I have the time, to interview or just have a small conversation or quick conversation with potential students, just to kind of get an insight as to, well, let's say why they want to pursue medical coding, just kind of see where they want to go with it. And, that way I can determine whether or not it's going to be a good fit for them. And not to say that they're not bad, and that's not an insult to I would say, the potential client. Sometimes their interests or their purpose may be better served in a different area or even a different industry altogether. And then coding may also help where they currently are, or may help put them in the trajectory of where they're trying to go in their career. So again, I always like to have a conversation with individuals just to kind of see where their mindset is, again, their reasoning for wanting to pursue a career in medical coding. Because truth be told, sometimes with all the romanticizing of our career paths via the social media platforms and YouTube, oftentimes people want the romanticized lifestyle and not so much the actual credential or the certification, or if they actually want to code, right? They may want the insight as to how can they take what they currently have and romanticize it into a lifestyle that they love or that they see that you're having, right? And so one of the things that I do, again, as a coding instructor, is I have that conversation with them. I pose questions, and even before then, even when I would submit emails or notifications or information to potential students or clients, I always have a quick question or quick survey as to for the potential client or student to address or respond to. Again, to give me some insight as to their purpose for pursuing this medical coding certification. And so oftentimes, more than not, again, it's not the certification that they want. They want what the certification can do for them. They want the lifestyle. And before the pandemic, the panini, many wanted that flexibility to work remote. That was like the number one reason for wanting to become a medical coder, is to have the flexibility to work remote, to not have to drive into the office, to not have to go and face coworkers or what have you. They want the peace of working from home, or the flexibility from work from home, especially as those, if they're like single parents, it just provides some flexibility in their schedule with their children, with their personal life. And so that was really like one of the main reasons why interested individuals wanted to pursue their certification. And then others, okay, now that we're somewhat post-pandemic, or we have taken on a new way of doing things, and of course coders are still remote, and then they're flourishing as well. And so individuals, they still want that remote flexibility in their time or in their schedule, but they also want to do the other things that comes along with it, again, through the romanticizing of the lifestyle of a coder. But I'm here to tell you that there is a lot of work. There's a lot of grunt work. There's a lot that goes on behind the scene of what you see, again, maybe it's being posted on social media, again, via YouTube. There's a lot of work to get to that point, right? There's a lot of work that's involved, and I would be remiss if I did not share that with you, like the behind the scenes when it comes to medical coding. Now, what you're seeing, or what you're probably seeing, is the lifestyle of those who've been in this particular industry for 20 plus years. So they have made their mark in this particular industry. So it's not like they started yesterday or they became certified yesterday and then voila, here they are. No, many of us have been in this industry for many years. We've gone through the changes such as the ICD-10 or implementation of ICD-10. We're still going through change with, again, with post-COVID, post-pandemic, the introduction of more technology into healthcare. You have more legal issues because you have more people trying to commit fraud. So there's a lot that goes on in this particular industry. And so that medical coding certification, yes, it opens doors. Don't get me wrong, and I feel like I'm doing my business a disservice when I'm actually not. But I want it to be that career path that you truly want to be in, right? That you truly want to code, that you truly want to see once you tap into it, that it is something where you can grow into. And so that's another reason why I coach. I share tips and strategies. I share, I call them the coding essentials to my listeners, to my followers, subscribers, potential students, clients, and those who are currently students and clients, that, these are tips and strategies. I'm giving you the short, I want to say the shortcut, but I'm giving you an upper hand per se, because a lot of things that are available for you all today weren't available 20 plus years ago. Okay, it wasn't available 20 plus years ago. And also 20 plus years ago, a lot of us that you see remote weren't remote. We were in the office. We were flipping through books. We didn't have access to electronic resources, right? I would say, let me go back. We didn't have readily accessibility to medical coding resources, right? Is where it's at our fingertips. We have Google, yada, yada, yada. Back then, we did not have that, which means we had to do some dumpster diving. We had to really do our research. We had to do our communication. So what you see now is, again, because of all the work that we had to put in 20 plus years ago, right? Everything that you have to go through, we've already been through, right? And so we're trying to coach you, for those of us who are coaches or in the industry as instructors and what have you. We're trying to coach you, we're trying to instruct you, we're trying to guide you into this lifestyle, or into this longevity that you see that we are experiencing as medical coding or health information management professionals. So the question again I ponder is it that you truly want to become a medical coder because you want to code, or is it that you are interested in the lifestyle that is being portrayed? And so sometimes you want the lifestyle, right? You want the lifestyle. You want what may appear to be that. But again, you too can have that, right? It's just that we're just portraying it in a medical coding industry. You may be a baker of breads, right? But you've been in it. And so you can romanticize that lifestyle of a bread baker, right? Because you've been in it. You've gone through the game. You've put skin in the game. You've done that. You can do that. And so if you want to romanticize, I'm not encouraging you to romanticize your life. Let me go back. You can romanticize it because it also motivates you, and it also puts you in a mindset of gratitude, because you did the work, you did this hard work, you cried the tears, you did the sweat, right? And so now you're reaping the fruit of your labor. And so it's okay to relish in that, right? And so again, it doesn't have to be, again, in medical coding. It doesn't have to be and compliance. It can be any career path. It doesn't even have to be a career. It could just be your life in general, right? And what I want to say is, don't confuse your task, like what you do, with who you are. Once you're comfortable and confident in who you are, the things that you do, I want to say, it won't matter, because it's because of you. The blessings are coming because of who you are, all right? Not because of what you do, which means if you are who you are, any industry that you walk into, you're going to be blessed, okay? You're going to be blessed. And I'm not just saying that, I am living proof of that when you are who you are, and you're able to walk into you should be able to walk into any industry and succeed, okay? And succeed. And so I wanted to provide, again, that little dose of motivation to those who are listening, those who are interested or curious about the medical coding industry. And though I don't share much like details as to the topic or conversations about coding per se, and the reason why I don't do that on this podcast is because I offer the more specific information in other areas, such as the coding classes, the coding camps on YouTube as well. I provide free tutorials or video tutorials on YouTube. And so I don't want to burn you out as well as burn myself out, just talking about like the task of coding. Okay, because it's more than that. It's more than that. But again, because I do offer it in other areas, you won't hear me talking a lot about step by step, like, okay, how to look up a diagnosis code, how to look up a CPC code, how to bring it together. You won't hear me talk too much about that on the podcast. The podcast is really a free-hearted, free-spirited conversation. Perhaps me sharing with you, or I may bring on a guest to talk about their perspective, or their I would say their interactions, their perspective as it relates to this particular industry, as well as other industries, and just to kind of show you how, let's say, that guest industry and the coding industry, kind of how they collide, how they kind of work hand in hand. So I want to come on and say, okay, so when you are contemplating a career in medical coding, prior to whether it be with me or with another coding instructor or college, really contemplate or ask yourself the question as to why you want to pursue this certification. There are some who want to go into health. They don't want to do nursing because they can't stand the sight of blood. They want to, however, they want to do something in healthcare, and that is perfectly fine. And regardless, any other reason is perfectly fine. I just want you as an individual to be aware as to why you want to become a medical coder. Okay, I want you to be aware that as to why you want to become a medical coder. Because here's the thing, although medical coding is not as expensive as going to a 2-year or 4-year college, it can become expensive, right? Because you have to pay for the examination, you have to pay for the course, and you have to make sure you're maintaining your continuing education units. There are so many things that goes into coding as with any other career path. So we want to make sure that when you're all in. You don't want to get midway into the program and realize that this is not something you want to do. You're not committed to it. And then you've wasted money, right? You wasted money and you wasted time when you could have been pursuing that thing that you really want to do, right? And I'm also going to go on the record and say medical coding is not a quick fix. It's not a quick fix. It's not a get rich quick program or scheme. This is a career path. This is a legitimate career path. Many people have put years and years and money into this particular industry to get where they are. And I'm not just speaking for self, I'm speaking for other colleagues and other professionals out there. Again, the same sweat and the same process that you will have to go through, they've either done it or are currently in the midst of it. So, yeah. So, again, don't let me, I want to say behoove you. Don't let me talk you out of becoming a medical coder. That's not what I'm doing. I just want to make sure that you are aware of why, of your why. Why do you want to become a medical coder? And so, again, once you realize what your why is, then I would say go forth with it. Go forth with it. So, yeah, so that's all that I want to come on and share with you all today as it relates to medical coding and why you should pursue this career and why you shouldn't pursue this career. So, yes, and so I will be also dropping some coding essentials for our listeners in the description box, as well as for those who are currently on the medical coding journey. I will share like the YouTube link to some of the videos. Also share like if you want to subscribe to our website. We also have closed Facebook groups where I share coding events as well as job opportunities in there for our members and so much more. So yeah, so if you feel like medical coding is your go-to career, please drop me an email and I'll leave that in the description box as well. So until next time, happy coding.